Hello and welcome to this edition of Keeping It Honest. I'm your host, Daryl Dukes. On this edition of Keeping It Honest, we're going to have a look back on all the stories that had you talking this year. And in no particular order, I just want to stress that right now. We didn't rank them 1 through 10. We just picked them by what 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 everybody was talking about. So, in no particular order, we're going to start with the country, the US of A, almost going to a government shutdown. Now, if you remember, there was about 4 times this year, I know we actually kept track, that the government almost shut down because of the debt ceiling crisis. No, the debt ceiling is basically how much the country spent. It's like a limit. The country was up at its limit 4 times. So they had to get the deal passed and took long hours and stuff. So it got done 4 times. But this time, the fourth time, which is recently, is only going to last 2 months. So by the time February comes around, 2012, debt ceiling crisis raises again, or should I say debt ceiling crisis is going to be raised up again. So just for warning you, if you hear debt ceiling in 2012, that means they have to come up with a new deal on how much the government can spend before all hell breaks loose and we basically have a government shutdown. But in the event of a shutdown, any necessary stuff that we need to keep law and order, it will still stands. Any non-necessary stuff will be shut off until further notice, which is like government offices, mainly government offices, if I'm not mistaken. Moving on, the death of Steve Jobs. Now we all some way somehow are impacted by this because if I'm not mistaken, almost everybody in the world has somewhat of an Apple product, which is either iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, anything that's related to Apple Incorporated. You have it. You was impacted by this. So Steve Jobs died a few months ago. Was also named Barbara Walters one of Barbara Walters' most fascinating people in 2010. They was going to get the interview, but Steve Jobs died before that interview was even went through. Next, the royal wedding, the most talked about wedding, period. 2 million people, roughly, seeing the royal wedding all over the world, which it was consequented, or should I say, consecrate. Pretty much the marriage was consecrated by not one but two kisses on national television, on live international television. And again, 2 billion people was watching. 2 billion people. From the royal wedding to the 72-day wedding, which was Chris Humphries and Kim Kardashian. No, the wedding was an Eve special, 2 night special. Everything was elaborate. Everything was good. Next thing you know, bam, that's it. After 72 days of marriage, Kim and Chris call it quits. I guess Kardashian felt like Chris ain't gonna tie her down. If you know the song "Tie Me Down" by Ray J, no, if I'm not mistaken, New Boys, she ain't gonna tie me down. Then I just made a reference to it. And plus, the Kardashians are like basically famous off of nothing. Well, if we count a sex tape with Ray J would add something to get famous off of, by all means, I may be wrong, but I guess they didn't want to get tied down after 72 days. Next story is the whole Joe Paterno getting fired. But a good coach. As we all know, the long running the oldest, most wisest guy that you will ever meet, Joe Paterno, was fired after Jerry Sandusky. Allegations are pretty much, in a nutshell, sexually harassing a child, which came through his charity Second Mile, and there was at least about maybe 10 or 11 victims came and spoke out, which cost Joe Paterno his job. Now, news after this, the students at the Nittany, home of Penn State, home of the Nittany Lions, raised hell. But after a while, they know their role and got back to reality, realizing that there's the only thing they could do is support the victims, which they started some type of fund, raised enough money for the victims. Sandusky went on Rock Center with Bob Costas, Bob Center with Brian, no, excuse me, Rock Center with Brian Williams, who Sandusky was into by host of Football Night in America, Bob Costas, where pretty much Sandusky, Bob Costas was sitting at Rock Center, and you had Sandusky calling in to give the interview. And like I said, seeing the interview, Bob Costas did a hell of a good story. Anywho, Occupy. We are the 99%. Basically, you heard about it. It started with Occupy Wall Street, and it basically exploded all around the world with Occupy Oakland and here in Miami with, of course, the most peaceful Occupy movement there is, Occupy Miami, where we have gotten no big time troubles with city Miami police. Anywho, we're going to go to the killing spree of our top stories of 2011. Osama bin Laden dead. May 1st, 2011. Remember this date when it took 3,520 days just to find him and kill him. Osama bin Laden, May 1st, 2011, dead. DEAD by U.S. Navy SEALs, which, if one thing you can remember Obama for, is that killing Osama bin Laden. Also, a few months later, Gaddafi, after trying to hide on the run from his people, after trying to do anything that he can to avoid the people that will kill him, they got him. They got Gaddafi, they shot Gaddafi, and basically just had his body laying out in the front for the public to see, the dead body. But, if I'm not mistaken, the government asked for the body because there are some safety hazards, which I can totally understand with a dead body, not in blown and stuff. I can understand. So, moving on to the trial cases, the big two trial cases that we had this year. One got away with murder. Two, justice was served. Now, you can find this one under the one that got away with murder, which is Casey Anthony. That's right. Casey Anthony, the one who somehow got away with murder thanks to Jose Baez, who is now like the Johnny Cochran of all lawyers right about now. Somehow, some way saved her ass from going to jail for a long, long time. And the other one, of course, the doctor who which I am on record saying that indeed he killed Michael Jackson before this trial ended, Dr. Conrad Murray. He, the most talked about story, and now he is going to, in pretty much 2 years, he is going to walk free. Now, why do I say that? Conrad Murray was tried under the California prison system. Excuse me, the California prison system is too crowded. So basically, they're going to give Conrad Murray 2 years in jail and he just walk. The best advice I got to say to you, Mr. Murray, you better call up Jose Baez and call him quick to see How can you stay away from the public's eye? Because by the time you get out of jail, we're coming. And we are, as in the millions and millions of fans of Michael Joseph Jackson. Well, those are your the top stories that you were talking about in this year of 2011. I'm your host, Derry Dukes, and thank you for dealing with this 10-minute plus video. I know it's long, even for my standards, but these were the stories that you were talking about, Nation, and I was more than glad to bring them to you here on the Next Era in Journalism. Until then, goodbye for now.